Hello. So in today's video, our question is, do you have to tackle the inflammation in order to cure the chronic pain? Okay. So this is a common question several people have who are dealing with the chronic pain. So in today's video, I want to cover three things. What do you mean by inflammation? What are the causes of the chronic inflammation? And what is a neurogenic inflammation? You want to stay tuned because a lot of people don't know about the neurogenic inflammation, and it plays a huge role when you're dealing with the chronic pain. Hi, I'm Dipti Patel, physical therapist with 20 plus years of experience, therapeutic pain specialist and a yoga teacher. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you get notified when my new video is released. I have so much information that I can't wait to share with you so you embark on your pain-free journey and live fearless, active life. Alright, should we get started? Let's go ahead. So the first thing is, what do you mean by inflammation, right? That's a common question we all have. Now, inflammation means, when you really imagine inflammation, it means different to a different people. So some people think inflammation is bruising, swelling, pain, and heat. Yes, that is true. Every time you get injured or you're fighting an infection, you are dealing with the inflammation. So whenever your body gets attacked by either an injury or infections, the first thing comes is I usually say immune system comes in. And immune system, same as a police force, right? Anything, crime happens, something happens, the police force is the first thing to arrive. Same thing happens, your immune system arrives first. And when immune system sees that, oh my goodness, there is an injury, there is a bleeding going on, there is a repair needs to be done, then it calls the ambulance. So your repair team comes in and they try to do the platelet aggregation, so close down the the blood flow and starts repairing by fibroblast and starts healing that injured areas. Now, when all this thing happens, you will experience heat or the fever in that area. You will have pain, you will have swelling, and you will have bruising, correct? So that happens in the acute inflammation. Now, that's not what you're here for. Most of the time in the chronic pain, people feel this general malaise, just feel tired, fatigue, like achy, like a flu kind of symptoms at times. And that's what they're talking about when it comes to chronic inflammations. And the question is, do we need to tackle this chronic inflammation in order to get out of the chronic pain? Correct? Now, in the chronic inflammation, what happens is your blood markers. So blood in the blood, you have inflammatory markers. They are called C-reactive protein, TNF alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 9. So if you go and get the blood test done, you're going to find them positive. But remember that you have to ask for this blood test. They just not automatically give you this blood test. This needs to be ordered, okay? So that's what the chronic inflammations we are talking about. Now, let's talk about what causes this inflammation, okay? Before we cure it, we need to know what is the underlying cause of this inflammation. Now, there are 4 factors that plays a role in causing the body in the chronic inflammatory state. The number 1 is the processed food. So if someone is consuming more than 70% of their diet is packaged, canned, frozen, or fast foods, this will create inflammations, no doubt about that. Over the course of time, if you keep consuming this food, it will create inflammations, okay? So journal for a week. What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the snacks? So if your food has come either in a bag or a packaged or the fast food, you picked up the food from the fast food, more than likely it's not giving you the nutritional value you need, okay? Now, this is a question. Sometimes people argue with me, no, I eat healthy. And I usually ask them that, hey, you know what? This is what I differentiate between the processed food and the living food that gives you the energy. So the living food is in most natural state. So for example, you take like a wheat grain and you take a pasta which is made from wheat grain. If you put both of them in the ground and you water them, and with the help of the sun, which one's going to grow? Anything that has the ability to grow, those are the living food that has a healing power, and that's what's going to give you the nutritious your body needs. The pastas and the breads and the cookies and all that stuff does not have that healing power. I'm not saying that buy the wheats and then start making your bread with that, but try to get the food, like get the flour and make your own bread at home. Make your flat bread, naans, chapatis. There are many ways to make the bread. So I know it is time consuming and we have become so convenient in nowadays world, but if you want to really heal your body, try to eat the highly nutritious food. And I have written a book on this. It's called Therapeutic Diet, which explains all the principles of how you want to eat in order to combat this chronic inflammations, and has lots of recipes, and it's pretty much vegan diet. So if you're interested, please check it out. I have a link in the descriptions below. Okay. Now, second things that causes the inflammation is the lack of sleep. You need 7.5 hours of minimum sleep every single night, 365 days a year, consistently day in, day out. When you sleep 7.5 hours to 8 hours, your body goes through 5 cycles of sleep. Each one is 90 minutes long, and they run one after the other. And during this each cycle, there are 4 stages. And then the stage 4 is the deep state of the sleep. And that's when the growth hormone is released and it repairs. So it repairs your cartilage, your skin, your muscles, your memories, your gut lining. So all this repair happens when that growth hormone is released. So your body works as a well-oiled machine day in and day out. But if you don't get that sleep, your body does not get repaired, and you keep running this body that hasn't been repaired for days. Some people sleep 5-6 hours during the weekdays and they catch up a little bit on the weekends, and it doesn't work that way. Try to have the consistent sleeping schedule if you want to combat that inflammation, okay? Number 3 that causes a chronic inflammation is over-exercising or a vigorous exercising, okay? So what happens is, if you spend too many hours in the gym, or you do lots of HIIT workouts, and when you do that, it creates the HIIT workouts create the micro tear in the muscles, because you're really doing jumping jacks and plyometrics and all these things, and it really breaks down the muscle tissue, which is good, because eventually when you sleep good that night, it's going to repair those muscle tissues and going to make them stronger. But the problem is, a lot of people, when you're working out at that intensity, your body needs eating right and sleep adequately. When you started exercising more, your body also needs a little more sleep. And a lot of people don't pay attention to those important factors when they're exercising. So when you don't do it, it puts your body into a pro-inflammatory state. The other time I see that some woman wants to lose weight, so they start working out for the long hours, like 2-3 hours a day, 6 days a week, and they don't even get enough sleep. And this causes the catabolic effect. That means your body breaks down the muscle tissues in order to generate more energy that it needs, because you're not eating right at the same time, you're not sleeping, and this puts a body into, again, a pro-inflammatory stage. So, and this can be really harmful, okay? Most of the time, I see the problem the other way around, that people are not exercising enough. And so you have to really find a balance. I recommend that all the chronic pain people should do is slow, steady cardio until you are healed from a chronic pain. So find the activities that you love. It could be either walking, biking, swimming, hiking, anything you enjoy, but try to maintain that pace for that certain amount of time where your heart rate is pretty steady within that zone, and you maintain that for that time being. And I recommend not I recommend, the American Medicines of American Associations of Sports Medicine, or American Heart Associations, or American Association of Geriatrics, American Physical Therapy Association, all these people recommend 150 minutes of exercises every week. Okay, so you can do either 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes 5 days a week, and that have more anti-inflammatory effects. So that really helps the body in their healing mode, get the circulation running, give the oxygen to the nerves and the muscles, and has a lot of good benefits, beneficial effects of it. Okay, now some people say, well, I like to lift weights. Well, lifting weights does not count towards this 150 minutes. And if you do want to lift weights, it's great for you, it's good for you. But try to do it at 3 times a week and no more than 15 minutes a day. Okay, so that will help you to strengthen your muscles, but at the same time you're not breaking them down too fast enough along with everything else and create the pro-inflammations. So go very slow when you're doing all this workout. Add a little by little and let your body adapt. Okay, now the next, number 4, is a chronic stress. So what is chronic stress? So a lot of people are in, either they are in toxic relation, not a lot of people, but some people are in toxic relationship, or they're a single mother, try to do so many things for their kids, for work and house and everything, or they have a toxic work environment. Some people have a lot of family dramas going around. There could be sometimes financial burdens, lack of recreation, just don't have time for it, don't have energy for it, or the failure of treatments. They have tried so many things and it becomes so depressing and disappointing that nothing has been working. All this thing leads to the chronic stress. Okay, and when long-term stress, what happens when you're in a long-term stress, it creates a high cortisol level in the blood. That means you're going to have more C-reactive protein, interleukin 1, interleukin 6, TNF alphas are high. Will be high in your bloodstream. They are called cytokines, and when cytokines activity is high, it creates the upregulations of this nociceptor sensitivity to the nitric oxide and prostaglandins. Bottom line, chronic stress keeps the body in the inflammatory state. Okay, so 4 things we talked about: processed food, lack of sleep, over-exercising or vigorous exercising, and number 4 is chronic stress. So you do need to manage your chronic stress by some mindfulness, some breathing exercises, self-care routines, and stuff too. You really need to work on managing the stress, eating right food, taking care of your sleep as a priority, and working out with a slow, steady cardio on a regular basis. Now, number 3, let's talk about what is neurogenic inflammation. So let me just tell you a scenario first, okay? A little story, and that way you understand where I'm going through. So sometimes there are people who had a knee surgery done 6 months ago or a year ago, but they still have a swelling in their knee. Or there will be a person who had ankle sprain a year ago or 9 months ago, and they still have a visual swelling and sometimes a little bruising around that area as well. And you think, where is it coming from? It has been 9 months, and we usually talk about that the acute injuries are resolved and all that stuff, but when you really look at that area, you look at the acute injury, like they have a heat, pain, swelling, and the low bruising going around. Now, where is it coming from? So sometimes the problem is because of the neurogenic inflammation. So what happens around the nerves have this insulating layers around them. They are called myelin sheaths. And we have 4 different nerve fibers, and the thickness of the myelin sheaths is different in the different nerve fibers. But this myelin sheaths can be easily removed. It's like a banana peel. You can just peel it off. Okay, now it can be also damaged by like a disease like a multiple sclerosis, or it can be damaged by chemotherapy or infections or anything like that. Now what happened is, let's say I'm going to give an example of the knee surgery. So somebody went to a knee scope, okay, and they still have the swelling in that knee. So surgeon may have nip the nerve myelin sheaths while cutting open and doing the surgery, and it actually happens pretty commonly. And when they nip that myelin sheaths off, that area, the myelins never grow back, okay? So that nerve is exposed now. It does not have that myelin sheath. Now, the nervous system is very similar to electrical wiring, except the intellectual properties the nervous system have. But in the electrical wiring, you see this plastic coating around them, right? There's some wires have a blue color, some have a green color, some have a red colors. Now, what does that plastic coating do? It protects it and stops getting the electric shock out of those wires, right? It locks them in. So if there was a break in those plastic coatings, what's going to happen? It will become a zip and a zap site, right? So when that happens in the nerves, that myelin sheath is peeled off, that becomes a zip and a zap site. So when that happens in the nerve, the nerve impulse goes in both directions. So it goes towards the spinal cord, but it also goes towards the knee. So the impulse that goes towards the knee, it releases the substance P. Now, substance P creates inflammation, just like you have injured yourself. So it creates an inflammatory soup. That's where you get swelling and bruising and pain and all that stuff. Now, it's pretty innocent. There is no actual injury going on. But because the nerve is firing, it's causing these inflammations, and we think, oh my gosh, my injury, my surgery hasn't been healed properly. But once you understand, so when I tell this to my patient and when they understand it, they say, oh, that's what's going on. So when you do that, it brings that sensitivity down in the nervous system, and that also helps to calm down that zip and zap. It takes your fear away. You start moving easily, and eventually when that happens, the swelling goes away. You start lubricating that joint. You start moving the muscles and the tissues around them. So there's more movement happening in that area, and that what brings the healing in. So that's a little bit on a neurogenic inflammation. And I wanted to plug that in with the chronic inflammation because it can go on for days and the months after the actual injury or the surgery, okay? So what did we talk? So far we talked about all our 3 points. What do you mean by inflammations? What are the factors causes the inflammations and the neurogenic inflammations, right? So the conclusion is, the question was, is it essential to get rid of inflammation in order to cure the chronic pain? Well, answer is yes, to some extent. Yes, you need to provide your body highly nutritious living food in order to have a really good feeling light, feeling more energetic, and provide the healing properties to those tissues, right? You also need to sleep regularly and consistently to allow the repairs to happen. You need the well-oiled machine, right? Your body has to be working perfectly in a perfect order. You do need to do moderate exercises. That's a slow, steady cardio, which has more anti-inflammatory effects, and avoid vigorous exercising or over-exercising until you get out of the chronic pain. And then the next is, you need to manage the stress on the regular basis by doing a self-care, plan things ahead of time, practice any kind of mind healing drills, practicing breath work. All that will help you to manage your stress better, okay? Now, the other part is, it will help you to feel better, it'll help you to feel more energetic, but it will not take your pain away. Okay, curing your chronic inflammations will not necessarily take your pain away, because in order to get out of the pain, you have to reverse those changes that has been happening in your nerves, in your spinal cord, and in your brain. And how do you do that? You do that by learning more about pain, by pain neuroscience education. You need to practice brain-based drills, neurodynamics to glide and slide those nerves, and the functional mobility exercises. And this goes by phase, and once you do that, you will slowly start making those changes in the nervous system and get out of pain. So getting rid of inflammations will not do these things. So the answer is kind of yes and no, but I hope you understand how the inflammation is playing a role in the chronic pain. Hope you find this video helpful. As always, if you have any comments, any questions, please let me know. I'm here. I'm happy to help. And thank you so much for watching.